So it's time to start talking about fall overseeding for our tall fescue lawns. It's already here and I can't believe it. So on my channel here, guys, we have talked a lot about, do you apply the same type of seed everywhere in your lawn, regardless of what your lawn looks like? Not necessarily. We've talked about the shady area in my back of my lawn where I love to put a different type of blend of grass. And we've been on an experiment here lately, and we're going to try something new this year. I want to introduce you momentarily to the new Mountain View Seed Vanguard. Let's get into the video.
Mr. Ferguson, Lawn Channel Intro.
What's going on YouTube? It is Mr. Ferguson back once again. I'm here in Central North Carolina. As always, thank you so much for clicking on the video. If you enjoy the topic of fall overseeding, talking about different cultivars and talking and getting ramped up for, the quote big day that you may be having, aerating, seeding, throwing your tenacity down, I want you to give the video a like, and I want to hear what your plans are down below in the comment section. To catch you guys up, I'm going to show you the lawn behind me. You'll notice my grass is pretty tall. I need to mow it. We have risen in our heat here in Central North Carolina. We are in mid-August, and we have had a wonderful mid to end of July into August with lots of rainfall. We've been documenting and talking about that. When we've done videos here in my fescue, that's what we've been talking about, how our lawn, we've not lost a ton of grass because we have had so much rainfall over the past month or so. But that has kind of slacked up. We've not had some rain in some time, and the 90s have returned. And so with no water and higher heat, we're starting to get spots in our lawn. As you can see directly in front of me, I just recently, to catch you up, I did put down my fungicides. I've been on top of that pretty well this year. Put down my azoxystrobin. I put down my propiconazole. It was looking like maybe some of this was starting to try, with some of the moisture that has sat in the lawn when it did rain. Was that starting to build up in some type of fungus? When I get nervous about it, I'm going to apply my fungicides, and that's what I did. I did want to mention to you that I also put down 7-0-20 Yard Mastery Stress Blend. I had not put any fertilizer in my lawn in several weeks and months. The last time I couldn't tell you what we even put down. It might have been the Stay Green products, but as you can see, we have a full lush fescue lawn. But as we've also mentioned, it's full of Bermuda in certain areas as well. But we have maintained and retained a whole lot of our fescue grass. And why is that important? Well, it means we don't have to buy a whole lot of grass seed to really reestablish or overseed what you're looking at right now. So as you guys know, last year we did a first-time product called the Mountain View Seed Shade Mix, and it did fantastic. I'm going to put the picture back up here. It was my favorite section in my tall fescue lawn last year, and it was lush. It was dark green naturally. It did... just for those that may be looking for that product and applying it in their lawn this year, did it exactly match up to GCI Turf Type Tall Fescue? No, it was a little bit darker naturally. You do have some Kentucky bluegrass, some ryegrass, some tall fescue in that mix, and we applied it all through the back areas of my lawn, and it did fantastic up until about the beginning to mid-June, and that's when it really started fading away. And as we come back to looking at what today it looks like, all that remains really is some of the tall fescue, if I had to guess. And so that's why we're going to be talking about, what are we going to do this year? Are we going to do the same thing? We're going to switch it up a little bit, as we mentioned, but you can see the thin areas. I like to put grass back here. I know a lot of people said, don't put them under the trees. The trees suck the water. It's not going to grow. It's fine. I like it. I'm going to, but this actually, guys, as I walk back here and look at it with all of the rainfall, a couple things come to mind. Number one, we had all the rainfall in the world, and the grass still faded away and went away. North Carolina has super high humidity, super high ground temps, and with all of the rain, we start to think, I'm not watering enough. That's why all this grass is diminishing and going away. It's fungus. It's lack of water. We had plenty of our fungicides down. We had plenty of water, and it still went away. It's just the conditions of and now I know that 100%. I know that it's not me. It's not lack of water. It's not lack of fungicides. It's just the state of North Carolina. And we just have to, and that's part of tall fescue. It is not a Bermuda. It doesn't spread. It doesn't regenerate itself or respawn, if you will. You have to plant it every year. And that's a cost that we take on as cool season lawn care owners. So let's go back up top. We're going to try something a little different this year. As I mentioned in the intro, what are we going to try back here? Well, let's go talk about it. So let me introduce you once again to Mountain View Seed Vanguard. This is a platinum mix of fine fescue. I've never done a straight up 100% fine fescue mix in my shaded area back here. So let me recap real quick. Subscribers, members, give me just 2 seconds to explain this to maybe new audience that have stumbled on my channel. I've done this kind of on video over the past 3 or 4 years. I took my GCI turf type tall fescue grass seed, and I did the entire bag over the entire property. But I started noticing in these back shaded areas, which I'll turn you that way once more, that in these back shaded areas come, you know, early spring, I was like, man, why is this grass fading out? The tall fescue is doing great all over here. And I started just wondering, okay, well, these trees weren't here, you know, in late fall. The leaves obviously fall. We got to rake leaves. And then obviously when spring comes, the leaves come back and shade is the shade comes and the shade goes, right? So I started noticing that, and it's like, okay, well, maybe it's not a one size fits all solution. I can't just take GCI turf type tall fescue, a Mountain View Seed cultivar product, and just apply it everywhere and expect it to do perfect. So we started playing around with different types of seed in these back areas because I knew the shade would come, and I was trying to plant in advance. So we started with Jonathan Green, some of their shade mixes, Shady Nooks and Dense Shade Mix. We put those back there. They did fairly well. I think if you go with these, you'll be fine. My advice would be, I wouldn't do them again because they do add a little bit of weeds to your lawn. Well, when we're talking about Vanguard, when we're talking about GCI Turf, when we're talking about Mountain View Seed, they are 100% weed free. So you are paying a little bit more in your cost, but you're not adding weeds to your lawn. Jonathan Green, though a great product, does have minimal amounts of weed seed in the bag of seed. So yes, when you spread Jonathan Green in your lawn, you are sowing weeds in your lawn, technically speaking. Now, Jonathan Green has commented on some of my videos and said, hey, if you plant right, you know, the tall fescue will choke out those weeds. It's not a big deal. And I tend to agree with them, but who feels real comfortable planting weed seeds in your lawn? So we kind of went away from that. And last year we ordered from actually Home Depot, if you guys are interested. And again, I'll show you the picture if I've got it right here. We did Mountain View Seed shade mix. It did fantastic. Between that and the Jonathan Green, it absolutely outperformed the Jonathan Green. The characteristics that I think were the same, the Mountain View Seed did have the dark green, just like the Jonathan Green. The GCI that we have here in the middle of my lawn is fantastic. It does great in the humid North Carolina conditions, but the color is not nearly as dark as these shade mixes we're putting in the back. And it's just because it's a different type of cultivars and seed. But the Mountain View Seed last year did great up until, as I mentioned, about June, which did to me outshine the Jonathan Green by several weeks. And even now, it's not 100% terrible. It's done better as far as retaining as much of the seed that we planted a year ago, almost a year ago. It's done pretty well. It was almost completely decimated last year. And again, I've learned that it's not me, it's not the water, it's not too much fertilizer, it's not lack of fungicides, and I've let disease get it. It's just the conditions that we live in. These are cool season products more for northern states. And I'm trying to do that temporarily here in the cooler parts of central North Carolina. And so we're going to have to overseed. So this is a brand new product from Mountain View Seed. And this is a platinum mix of fine fescues. This did run me upwards of, I don't have the exact cost off the top of my head walking out here, but $60 to $80. Again, 100% weed free, guaranteed. We're going to go to the back here. I actually pulled up and we've got a label here. The GoPro doesn't do great with you know, zooming in and getting fine writing. So I'll just set the bag up like this and read it off my phone. So Mountain View Seed Vanguard talking points. Vanguard is a 4-way fine fescue blend from Mountain View Seeds under their Platinum brand. It contains 4 different species of cultivars: Navigator 3, Radar 2, Beacon 2, and Sea Mist. Navigator 3 is a creeping red fescue. Radar 2 is a chewing fescue. Beacon 2 is a hard fescue, and Sea Mist is a slender, creeping red fescue. That's the beauty of a mix. You don't have one cultivar that if it gets hit with disease and it doesn't do well with disease, it all goes away. You've got 4 different characteristics, which a blend is always better than just one characteristic, right? Even GCI Turf Type Tall Fescue is 3 different cultivars in its mix, also weed-free. Mountain View Seed says these are top performing NTEP cultivars selected to work together rather than relying on one type of fine fescue. The blend was designed around 4 main characteristics: shade tolerance, exactly what we want it for. It will do well in shade. Diverse disease resistance, also super key here in central North Carolina. We get a lot of brown patch, a lot of gray leaf spot, a lot of disease that can form with these warm ground temps and warm nights. Very, very good quality to have. Turf quality for number 3, and number 4, performance under both low and high maintenance conditions. Shade is the big selling point. Mountain View Seeds specifically lists Vanguard for heavily shaded areas. We don't necessarily have heavily shaded areas. At times it can be that way. This is when the trees get the thickest and the fullest, and it can be heavily shaded. But if you have a heavily shaded area, Vanguard may be an option for you. The diversity of the 4 species is important. You're getting 4 different types of fine fescue with different strengths, which MVP says brings strength and balance to the blend. Exactly what I was saying. Didn't even know that was in here, but you're getting, basically think about 4 different people with 4 different superpowers. It's better than just 4 people with the same superpower, right? Instead of 4 Supermans, you're getting the whole, oh crap, I'm going to tick off a bunch of comic people if I say the wrong thing. Justice League, right? Sorry. I should have just said Avengers, but you're getting 4 different superpowers on different levels. So one is probably going to be the dominant shade guy. I'm the dominant disease resistance. I'm the dominant, turf quality green. So they all work together as a blend is what you get the point. Mountain View Seed describes it as performing in shaded and poorly irrigated areas while also highlighting turf quality, drought stress, traffic stress, and shade tolerance. So that's Navigator 3. Great in the shade and poorly irrigated areas. Radar 2, drought stress resistance and summer density, as well as established and traffic stress performance. So Radar 2 sounds like the one that is a North Carolina. If Radar 2 can't survive back there as a cultivar, none of them are going to be able to survive. Sea Mist brings something unusual to the blend: salt resistance. Mountain View Seed says it can germinate in water up to roughly 40% as saline as seawater. So hey, if you've got super salty area, super salty fertilizers, it's supposed to be able to sustain and resist that a little more than others. Vanguard is also A-list approved. A-list focuses on turf varieties capable of maintaining acceptable turf quality with reduced inputs such as water, fertilizer, and chemicals. So for all of those out there, it's like, go natural. That's basically what it's saying. You're getting the best cultivars in this bag of seed where you don't have to necessarily fertilize it. You don't have to necessarily constantly be on top of water and chemicals for disease resistance, for fungicides, which, my goodness, if that's the case, that would be awesome. I would love to not have to buy fertilizer, spend money on water, or buy fungicides and have to then go out and apply these things to keep the grass established. We'll see how it does this season. And then lastly, Mountain View Seed describes Vanguard as capable of handling higher maintenance programs such as golf fairways, roughs, while recommending low input management for natural areas, hillsides, hard to reach areas. Vanguard isn't one specific type of fine fescue. It's a blend of 4 fine fescues: creeping red, chewing, hard fescues, slender creeping red. Mountain View Seed select cultivars because they bring different strengths to the table, with the overall blend being built around shade tolerance, disease resistance, turf quality, and the ability to perform under different levels of maintenance. And that's really why I wanted to try it in my lawn. And basically, as we wrap this up, is because it's 4 different fine fescues with 4 different qualities. And Mountain View Seed has truly impressed me as a homeowner. If you're talking about you can put this on a golf course, well, hey, who doesn't want a golf course manicured maintenance lawn? I certainly would, and I certainly do. And so I'm very curious when we overseed with this. This is the 10-pound bag. I think it also might be sold in a 50 or 45-pound bag, which is, it's an expensive bag of seed. But if this does what it says it will do, less water, less fertilizer, less fungicides, it can sustain the heat, it can be maintained in the shade, maybe the cost is worth it. You're saving, think of it more as you're saving in fertilizer, fungicide, and water, and you're inputting all those costs into the bag of seed in this blend right here. So we're going with a fine fescue blend in our shaded area as we seed this fall. Guys, thank you so much for watching the video. Hit the like button if you enjoy it. I've also got to get on top of getting my tall fescue. Yes, once again, I'm going to be buying GCI turf type tall fescue, those Mountain View cultivars to blend back into my normal lawn. And so we'll talk about my fall thoughts and what I'm going to be doing this fall as far as, am I going to be aerating, overseeding, tenacity? What are we going to do? I'm going to put forth that plan soon to let you guys know. But also, as you saw in some previous videos, we've got a lot of Bermuda out there we also need to have a plan for and deal with. So check back in later on. We'll also keep you posted about the iron cutter Bermuda up at the church, which continues just as it gets hot and nasty here and we're struggling with the fescue. It is beautiful for the iron cutter Bermuda. So thank you for watching. Tune in, check out the other videos if you're interested. We'll see you next time.